Welcome back, everyone. As you can see, the all my hull chocks, or the supports that are actually going to hold up the hull during after we flip her over and during the rest of the construction, are for the most part complete. Actually, they are complete. The one thing I'm going to need to do is when we flip her over, the one thing I'm worried about is actually one of these chocks getting kicked out from the hull. Not one of the keel chocks, which are right there, but one of these chocks on the side, either going one way or, getting kicked out from the hull. So what I'm going to do to prevent that is actually tie a bit of string, like right around here, from one end to the other, once they're properly set, to keep them in place. Also, if you've noticed, I've got supports or chocks along the keel, which are actually kind of horseshoed over the keel. And what that's going to do is it's going to support the keel while it's up, and they're at a requisite height that I measured from back here, and that was about 9 inches, give or take, on the back end of the skeg here. So we're maintaining that the whole way down, that 9 inches. That way, when we flip the boat over, she's level, or at least so I hope. And then these guys along here, like these guys in the back, and then these guys right here, will of course be placed further out along the hull to support the rest of the hull, not just obviously along the keel. So that's kind of the idea. And if you can tell, I cut the 2x4s to the bevel that matches the hull. That way, it lays flat along the hull, but it's also square up top, so it contours. And that was done with my bevel set. That's what I used for that. Ironically enough, I did make a bit of a boo-boo. I assumed that the entire hull, pardon the drink, all the way to the bow would be about the same bevel, would be about the same slope. Because, well, it kind of looked that way, and that's just kind of what I was going with. However, that is simply not the case. Yet that didn't happen before I built all of these guys. These big 4-poster guys that I had planned on stationing, at the stern, and then of course midships, and then forward. So yeah, that was kind of a dumbass on me. I should have known better, and for whatever reason I didn't. And so anyways, they for the most part maintain the same bevel up to about, right in about here. And then the bevel of the boat, of the hull, changes. So that's where the single post guys come in. I built those individually, obviously, to maintain that bevel at that particular angle, at that particular station. And I'm going to have these remain back here to support the stern, and then as we go forward, they will be supported by those guys. And of course, those along the keel, which I cut today with much less effort than I did with these. Oh, they do look good, though. They're pretty beefy and strong, too. I went ahead and used screws and nails to secure them, as well as glue. That way, they're just not going to fail. The way I see it, the wood will fail, not the joints or the screws or the fasteners. So that's kind of the plan with that. On tap, we've got Dad coming down in, about a week. And he'll be here. And we've got also 3 block and tackles that are going to be here, hopefully in about that same time period, so we can flip this boat. We're also going to use 2 come-alongs But that's kind of what we're waiting on now. That's pretty much it. And once we go ahead and get everything here and we get Dad here, we'll go ahead and flip the boat. At least that's the plan. So just like I promised, any mistakes I made, I'd let you guys know. So the massive mistake I made with these back Chaulks, I hope if you're doing this project, this boat, I hope you won't repeat my mistake. Because frankly, that was stupid, and I can't believe I did it. But once again, I did, and learned from it, and we're moving forward. So that's what we got. Hopefully, if the good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, we won't have any problems when we go to flipper. But once again, you know, that's going to rely a lot on like myself and Dad. As you can tell too, this is the nose chalk that's actually going to hold up the bow right before the curve to the stem. So there's that guy. He was actually pretty easy to knock out. As a matter of fact, none of this was too terribly hard once I figured out how to do it. Figuring out how to do it and what I was going to do was the biggest hurdle. After that, it all kind of fell into place. A lot of hard work. But hopefully it'll be worth it, and I know it will be. I know we can knock this out. That's where we stand. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I know this is kind of a lull in the activity, but I promise it will pick up, especially when we go to flip it. I'll try to have my camera out here, and I'll try to take clips of Dad and I, or have my wife out here doing that while Dad and I do it. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, as it stands, that's where we sit. And I hope, you know, I've illuminated to you guys that, you know, any idiot with a saw can do this, and as indicated by my big old goof back there. So, anyways, I'm going to stop rambling now, because I'm sure you're probably tired of it. You get the idea. So, next time we meet, we will be probably flipping the boat. Unless I have some harebrained idea between now and then, which is always possible. But anyways, that's where we stand, or sit for this time period, and I will see you guys then.